Well, hello everyone. It's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How is everyone? I am alive. My house is okay. My family is safe. And that's all that really matters at this point. We just came through Hurricane Milton. If you don't know, I live in Southwest Florida. We lost the screens on our pool cage, which is what goes around your pool. It's on your lanai, which is like a back porch. But my house is still standing. We did lose something off the roof of our house, but my house is here, and that's all I could ask for. We did have flooding in the streets again. Where I am, we had flooding for Hurricane Helene. We did fear the storm surge that was coming into the area. So we had cleaned up our house and brought most of what was important that we could get off of the floor. Brought everything from outside, and just, it was terrifying. And all I can say is just send out my best wishes to people who no longer have homes and who are just struggling through the rubble to try to make it happen for their lives again. I want to say a special hello to my friend Jill at Copycat Crafts by Jill, who was sweet enough to check on me and make sure that I was doing okay and that I had gotten myself, set for the hurricane. And we texted each other the following day, and she wanted to make sure if I was okay. And just thank you, Jill. Yeah. So putting all of that aside, if I sound calm, it's because I think I'm still numb. But we are here today because we are going to make a Christmas treat bag. And yes, this is made from Halloween paper, and this is from Tracie's Hocusy Potiony kit. And yes, it is for Halloween, but I wanted to show you this one because we are still in the midst of our Halloween makes. And so I wanted to let you know that this can be adapted to any holiday. I have one here for Halloween, and I will show you, well, I'm going to wait, the one that I made as my sample for Christmas, and then we're going to get into making. I'm probably going to do this video in bits and pieces because I grabbed some time while my family was out. It's just me and the furry boys. They are off helping my cousin replace some screening on her lanai. And so, yeah, I figured I will grab some time and get this started because I wanted to make this video earlier and it just never happened. What I do want to tell you from the get-go is that I adapted this bag from a bag that I saw Annette Green, who is a designer for Elizabeth Craft Designs. She made it using their paper, and this is the size of hers, and this is the size of mine. There is not much difference in size, but what I did was, after so many tries, I was able to figure out a way to make this using, you can either use the A4 size, because it works with that one too, I did try it, or you can do it with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This one is made using a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock, to which I have glued cutout papers from the Festive Compendium Kit. And this little critter here, who is absolutely adorable, he is from the Woodland Wonder Christmas Creatures, which are 2 new kits that Tracie has put out. So yes, this is a design team project that I have made for Tracie. And so this is the original bag. And I was going to show you how to make it from the 12 by 12s, but 2 reasons. I figured that everyone has an 8.5 by 11. If you're using a digital kit, then that's the size paper that you'll be starting with. I didn't want to assume, as I never do, because I don't like to think that people might have something that they might not have, when I can think of a way for them to be able to do it from something that they must have because you're watching my video and you're using this kit, okay? So this was made from the 12 by 12 piece of paper. I did use white, so you can see, yes, there are a lot of white spaces on here, because I found that when I used the 12 by 12 and I adhered the paper to the 12 by 12, it made the bag rather, very stiff. And that's not a bad thing. So if you want to find out what the 12 by 12 measurements are and use Annette's design and possibly use 12 by 12 paper, or do it this way and create the bag and then attach the papers to it, you can do that. It is going to make your bag a little bit stiffer, but that's okay, because then in my mind it's a little bit sturdier. I will link Annette's video, and she has all of the measurements that you can use to use the 12 by 12s. You don't even have to use the kit. If you want to follow her 12 by 12s and use your 12 by 12 Christmas papers, Halloween papers, Easter papers, Valentine's papers, this is very versatile. You can use this for a lot of different holidays, okay? I will link that. You can go over and you can check out her page. But this is the Halloween version that I created because I wanted everybody to see that it's Halloween. And then this is the Christmas, okay? And you can see I used Tracie's Festive Compendium Kit, okay? I used the, I keep forgetting what they're called because I keep calling them cute critters. The Woodland Wonder Christmas creatures, and I cut out some of the little circle tags that she has in it to use as a gift tag, okay, to hang off the bag. Again, this little fellow or lady, I mean, you know, her scarf's kind of cute, so I'm thinking it's a lady. I would figure a plaid for a male mouse. I decorated the front of it with this little, this little creature from that kit, along with some of the little Christmas saying strips that Tracie also has in that kit. But again, you can use your own paper and you can do whatever you like, okay? But yeah, it's relatively simple to do. It depends on how much you want to decorate it, all right? Now, what you are going to need to make your bag, I'm just going to put these to the side for now, is you're going to need, and these are my adaptation to Annette's, and this is Annette's original measurements. But since we're doing it with the 8.5 by 11, we're going to concentrate on my measurements, okay? What you're going to need is you're going to need 3 pieces of paper. And you're going to need one that is, and you're going to see there are white edges on here, okay? Because no matter how big I blew this up to fill my entire page, I still ended up with white edges. It doesn't matter because as you can see on this one, there was a white edge here and I inked it. If this bit bothers you, you can always put a little ribbon, you can put a little lace, you could put little, what do you call them? I can't think of what they're called. Little stick-on diamonds, stick-on beads, whatever. I can't think of what they're called. You can, like I said, you could just glue something along here. Most of this disappears once you add your flap. So it's only this little section here that's white, okay? So I wouldn't worry about the white edges at all. So back to what you're going to need. You're going to need, this is the part that's going to be the bag. This piece needs to be 6 inches by 11 inches. If you are using directional paper and you would be using directional paper if you're using this kit, your 11 inches is going to run this way. Your 6 inches is going to run this way. So your images will be straight up and down, okay? Then what you're going to need is you're going to need one piece that is 3 3/4 inches wide, again by 11 inches long, all right? And then for your flap, you're going to need a piece that is 3 3/4 inches wide by 3 1/2 inches tall, okay? I had to finagle, and I can't explain how I did it, but the 3 3/4 inches is the part that's going to sit over the bag. All right, like this. So I played with it to make sure that my image would be standing up straight. So when I measured, I made sure that the 3 3/4 inches was going to make the area that I want to be straight. I can't explain what I did, because what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to score this right down the middle. So this is literally going to be bent in half to create your flap. Okay. And you kind of want the North Pole to be reading correctly. So you're going to have to sit like I did. I was getting completely confusing myself by trying to figure it out without actually doing it. All right. So that's what you need to create your bag. All right. Then what you're also going to need, and I'm going to get this out of the way, is you're going to need your scoreboard, and you're going to need your little scoring tool, because we're going to do some scoring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab out my scoreboard, and I'm hoping that I will get this done before my family comes back. So what I might do is just do this in bits and pieces, and I may stop after we do this part, just so I can be sure that I don't get interrupted. All right. Now, as I said, I did interpret this from Annette's design, and it took a few tries, and even after I thought that I really had it, I actually didn't. Okay, you're going to grab your scoreboard, and you're going to grab your piece of paper, and you're going to put your 11-inch side up to the top of the scoreboard, and you are going to score at 3 3/4 inches. Okay, so we're just going to come down like that. And then you are going to score at 5 1/4 inches, like so. This is what's going to become the front of your bag. This is going to be your little side flap. And then you're going to score at 9. And this area here is going to be the back of your bag. And then you are going to score at 10 1/2. Okay. And that's going to become the other little side of your bag and the little flap that you're going to glue it all together on. Okay. We're going to put that aside. Now what you're going to do is you are going to take your 3 3/4 inch this way by 11-inch piece, and you are going to score it exactly the same as the piece that you made for your bag. So that's going to be at 3 3/4 inches. Again, my scoreboard is dirty, and I have to take like something and just scrape out the little notches. All right, so it's 3 3/4, 5 1/4, like so. And then you're going to score at 9. Okay. And then you're going to score again at 10 1/2. But now what you're also going to do, this piece makes the bottom of your bag. And it might be a little difficult to see, even though I did ink it. This is what we're creating here. This section here, this little piece here, you can see it better here. This little area right down here, that's what we're making right now. You can see the break in the pattern, okay? So what you're going to need to do in order to create this little border here is you're going to take this piece of paper, and you're going to take it and you put the 11-inch side. Now you can look at it and decide, because again, this is directional, so I kind of want everything going in the right direction. But you can figure out if maybe you want to turn it this way and you want this to be the border of your bag, or you can turn it this way, which is the way I'm going to turn it, because it's facing in the right direction. And then this section is going to be the border of your bag, okay? What you're going to do now is you're going to score down 1 inch all the way down from the top to the bottom. All right, like so. Okay, so let me turn it over. You might be able to see better on the white, our little score marks. Okay, and then you're going to take your 3 3/4 by 3 1/2 inch piece, and you're going to take that and you're going to score that at 1 3/4 inches, because basically you're scoring it to make it be in half. Okay, because then you're going to fold it, and these are going to be the flaps that cover your bag, which, again, let me pull out that piece. This is your flap. Okay, you can see right here. Okay, so that's what you have to do as far as scoring. Now I'm going to take my scoreboard and I'm going to put it away, and hopefully I'm not going to hit you. All right, now what I'm going to do is I am going to start with the piece that creates the bottom of our bag, because this is the piece that has the most work done to it. Okay, the bag, we just kind of fold it and flap it and all sorts of stuff. Now you can see hopefully on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink these so that you can see where we are at here. Let me just grab, before we start cutting and bending and making and all sorts of stuff, I'm going to ink all of these edges so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing, because I feel like it's important, if I'm showing you how to do something, that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have inked all of these edges, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and I'm going to fold over that little 1 inch edge, and I'm going to ink that too, because this is not a bad thing, because it will help us in the end when we're putting our whole little bag together. So I'm just going to ink all the areas that we scored again, so you can see what's going on. All right, now you're going to need to grab out your scissors, because we're going to do some cutting. And you know what, I think first what we'll do is we'll do some measuring, and of course my ruler is not where I wanted it to be. Now, in order for your bag to successfully close here on the bottom, once you start folding the flaps in, which is something I will show you, you need to make these wider areas shorter, okay? Because they're going to fold from front to back, and you don't need all of this piece. So what we're going to do, we are going to take our ruler. Now again, if you watch Annette's video where she used a 12 by 12 piece of paper, she does this differently. This is the way I did it because it works out easier for me, because as you all know, I am petrified of those X-Acto knives. So I wanted to be able to figure out a way to do it with my scissors. All right, what you're going to do, here's your little 1 inch strip. You're going to measure from this edge, okay, the very top edge. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to lay it down. Whoop. And you're going to measure down 2 1/2 inches, okay? And I'm going to make a little mark. Then on your other little wide area here, you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to measure down from the top, and you're going to measure down 2 1/2 inches, and you're going to make a little mark, okay? Then I am going to take my ruler, and I am going to try my best to work around the tripod and make sure this is straight. And yes, that's my head. Okay, what you're going to do is you are going to take and you're going to make a pencil line just in those little wide areas, like so. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? Yes, I think you can. I'll show you. I'll push it up further. I'm working around this tripod again, and I can't see what I'm doing. Okay. See what I did? I made a little mark where 2 1/2 inches comes down from the top. Okay? So that's what we're going to do with that. And then I'm just going to put my pencil aside. Now we're going to start cutting. Now, if you've ever done any of this with me before, you know that we're going to cut, and we're going to cut on an angle so that we have room when we start to fold. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to kind of angle up from the bottom and cut up, cut up your paper, and you're going to cut alongside the score line straight up to this little 1-inch score line. Not above it, not too far below it. You're going to cut right up to it. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. Going to kind of angle it, then try and cut up alongside of it, straight up to the little 1-inch score line. And you're going to have this little piece right here, which we're going to pull back. Oh, well, it ripped off. Okay, so we can just kind of give that a little. And then you're going to do the same thing on all of your score lines. Okay, going to go up, kind of angle in, up to the 1-inch. Going to do the same thing on here. Like I always tell you, it does not have to be perfect. And yes, I hit you again. Sorry about that. Basically, you're cutting out that score line and giving a little angle area so that you have forgiveness and area for folding. And we're going to do this last one here on an angle up to the 1-inch score line, on an angle up to the 1-inch score line. Cut this off, and as you can see, none of my cuts are perfect, nor are they identical. Now, the exception to our little rule is we are going to cut out this area right here. We're going to keep this little part right here because that's our flap that we're going to fold over, but we're going to cut out this section here. So I'm just going to cut straight up the score line like so. And then I'm going to cut across this little score line here like so. I'm going to just pull that right off. So that's what you're going to have at this point. Now, what are we going to do with that penciled line, you ask? We are going to cut off this bottom area, the area below the pencil line, because we need our flaps to be able to fold front to back on our bag. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut just above our little pencil line, because why not? It'll give us more area. And again, it's not straight. I don't care. If you want to use an X-Acto knife and do this, more power to you. I don't like them. Okay, that's what you have. This is the bottom of your bag. Okay, now we're going to go back and we are going to take our little flap. All right. Actually, you know what? Let's fold our bag first. Now you can see we have the score lines on here. So you're going to start folding on your score line. This is our little flap that we're going to glue our bag to. Okay, and you're just going to fold over all of your score lines nice and tight. If you want to, you can use a bone folder. I mean, maybe I'll grab mine out. Okay, I'll just use my bone folder too. And you're going to fold, and you're going to score down. Not score down. You know, the word. I can't think of it. We're just going to push down. That's a good word. Push down on our score lines to make our edges nice and flat. Okay, and we did that one, and this is the last one. And we're going to do the same thing on here. Okay, so now we have our bag, like so. Can you see that? Okay, that's our bag. This is the back, and this is the front, and these are the sides. Okay, so we are going to take our glue, and I'm going to try out this bottle. It was giving me a bit of a hard time before. I'm going to see if it works. If not, we're going to grab out the big Mumga Gunga, the Mama Jamma, and oh, it's working. Let's see if it'll keep working. And we're just going to put glue all along that little edge there, that little 1/2-inch edge that we had left after we scored at 10.5. And yeah, okay. Then we're going to take and we're going to glue our bag together. And we're going to push the seam up as far as we can, just to the fold. And then I'm going to turn over. I'm going to make sure I got it straight. Annette used a lot of double-sided tape. I used that on my samples, but I found that I don't really like using it because it doesn't give me enough time to play. And now what I'm going to do once I've glued it is I'm just going to go and I'm going to crease all my edges again so that I make sure that my bag is totally square. Okay, so there you have your bag. All right, I'm just going to put my pin back. Well, actually, I'm not going to put my pin back in my glue because I'm going to need it in 2 seconds. All right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to begin adding the bottom to your bag. It is very important to remember whichever side you want to be the back. This is my front with the pretty poinsettia, and this is my back with the little white line. You want to put the back of your bag down first. Now, if you remember, here's our flap, okay? That's what's going to fold over last on the back of our bag. This is going to ultimately, this is this is the side that's going to be the back of your bag, okay? So you want to take the back of your bag and glue it down to this edge. Like I said, Annette used double-sided tape. I don't like using double-sided tape because I have no room for error. Okay, and my glue is not working, so we're taking out the big mamma jamma. All right, let's put this in here. Just close this up. Okay, we're going to take this one out because it's going to give me an amount of glue that is acceptable. All right, you're going to put glue around all the edges and a little bit in the middle. Now you are going to take your bag, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to show you this, and you're going to line this edge up to this inked edge and this edge up to this inked edge. So you have it like this, and do your best to get it straight, okay? I'm going to probably need to turn this a little so that I make sure that my edge is on my score line, and that's fine. And this edge is pretty straight along here. See, the glue gives you enough room to play. And if you're not sure if maybe you went over your score line, you can always give your flap a little fold and say, wow, it works, okay? Now I am turning this around, and I know that I'm probably making you all dizzy, but I'm pushing the glue down and making sure that it's staying stuck. Now what we're ultimately going to do is we are going to wrap the rest of this around our bag, okay? So we're going to take and we're going to put glue in this little, what would you call it? I don't know. I can't think. This little zone here. Zone is a word I've been hearing a lot about lately. Flood zones and area zones and all of that. Okay, and you're going to glue the side of your bag down to that area there, and we're going to turn it. I'm going to push down, and now we're going to glue the flap to the front of the bag. So again, you're going to go in this zone, and you're going to put glue all around the edges here, and we're going to bring our bag down again, and we're going to lay it, and we are going to, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to push down so that my glue catches my bag, and I'm just going to make sure that all of my edges are straight, okay, like so. And then we are going to take and we are going to fold up this last edge here, okay, which is, for some reason, it just never seems to come out perfect, and I think it's because the bag ends up being a little bit wider. This is our last little area to glue here, and so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold it over, and I'm going to push down on that edge to give it another kind of crease, so that it matches right, okay? And then again, we're going to take and we're going to glue the edges here, like so, and around there. I'm going to bring this up. We're going to roll our bag over again, I know you can't see. I'm trying to open these flaps for you. And I'm just going to make sure it lines up and it's straight. And then I'm going to push down like so. And now I'm going to take this last little flap here, which also is not going to fold over correctly because the paper takes up space, okay? And there's no way, for me anyway, I'm sure there's a way. I do have someone that likes to comment, and I can't remember their name, otherwise I would say hello, and give me helpful hints on how I can do things a different way. But this is the way that I can do it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my vintage photo, and I'm just going to ink this very white edge before I fold it over to try to disguise how white it is, okay? And then I'm going to put some glue on here, like so. And again, I'm going to crease it a little bit more. There we go. So now we have our little trim piece on the bottom of our bag. There's the front, one side, the back, and the other side. Okay? So it looks kind of cute, right? Now what we're going to do is we are going to close up the bottom of our bag. All right, and you can see how, hopefully you can see, angling those edges gives us the room that we need. It gives us breathing room in order for everything to fit nicely onto itself. So I'm just going to grab my glue, and I'm going to put a little glue along here and along the edge, like so. And I'm going to bring my other flap over. It doesn't matter what flap you start with, okay? Now this bag, like Annette said, is big enough for us to stick our hand into to flatten out that little piece in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to push it down so that I make sure that my two flaps are stuck together. Voila, that happened perfectly. Now, because we get the white edge on our paper, we do have one side that's going to have a white edge, and we have one side that doesn't. So what I do is I take the edge that has, take the flap that has the white edge on it, and I fold that one over first, because once you fold this other flap over and you ink it a little, that white edge is going to be kind of disguised. So now what I like to do is I take and I put some glue on this flap here, like so. And again, I'm going to fold it over like this. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to put it right side up, and just push down on my paper, on my table rather. And I'm going to go in again with the bone folder, and I'm going to go back and forth a few times to make sure that my flaps are adhering to each other. Okay? So there you have your little flap. And then I'm going to take this last little flap, and I'm going to put glue all around it, trying to catch up the edges, and I wasn't very close there. Like so, and put a little in the middle, just so it stays stuck. We're not playing football with it. It's not going to go out on a world tour, and it will be fine. Okay? Now, what I just realized I didn't do on this one, I had inked the top edge of my little flap here. But that's no inky stinky. We don't have to really worry about it. What I can do, if I want to make this area a little bit more noticeable, I'll go in with my ink, and I will ink that little area there. I'll just give it a little bit of an ink so we know it kind of designates that there is a split in the paper if you want that to be noticed. If you don't, you can leave it alone. If you don't like to ink, you don't have to ink at all. But I like people to see that there is a little bit of a trim. Now, you can go back with ribbon or with, those little diamond sheets. They come in diamond strips. They come, I don't remember where I got it, but it comes and it's like a long thin strip and it's all little studded diamonds. You could put that around here to accentuate the edge too if you want to. Or you can cut, which is what Annette did on hers, you can cut out another little accent paper and wrap it around here and you can cover that edge. I didn't do that. I don't think it needs it, but that's up to you. Okay. So now back to the bottom of our bag. You can see everything is stuck down. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to continue inking, and I'm going to ink the bottom edge around the bottom of the bag like so. And I'm going to ink up on the side edges of the bag because I like mine to look a little bit rustic. And I am actually going to use these for my family for gift bags at Christmas time, okay? And I have a lot of scraps left over after cutting all of these pieces out, and you will too. You'll have some strips left and things like that. And I plan on making Christmas cards using this paper, and we probably will do that as a craft with me. And I have been trying to keep myself sane during the waiting period for Milton to come and destroy Florida. I was stamping some new Christmas stamps that I have, a few from a company called Woodland, which is sold by scrapbook.com, and it's a cute little snowman, and one is a Christmas moose, and actually the name of the stamp is Merry Christmas. So I was doing that, and I was coloring to save my sanity. My daughter finally said to me, Ma, is all you're going to do sit there and color? And I couldn't explain to her how I need to keep my hands busy so my mind doesn't go berserk. All right, now I'm going to ink the top of this. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to take a little break, see where my family is at, and I'm going to come back and we are going to finish making our little Christmas treat bag so we can get this all done and you can start making them in bulk like I am, okay? And get yourself set for Christmas if you're at Christmas time. If you're doing Christmas makes, I should say. If you're doing Halloween makes and you're preparing to give out tricks and treats or having a Halloween party, then you can be doing this with some of the Halloween kits that Tracie has out, the Hocusy Potiony or the Dark Compendium, or even her new kit. Oh gosh, I forgot what it's called, the Creepy Creep. That has some wonderful papers that you could make some really creepy treat bags with. And while I'm here, I will just ink this up. But I think I'm going to go away for now, and I will come back. For me, it'll probably be several hours, if not tomorrow. For you, it will only be maybe 40 seconds, depending on how the video splits. But yeah, I think I'm going to go. So this way I am assured that no one will come busting in. I forgot to round my corners. I'm just going to round my corners on here. And I'll go back and ink this because I like the little flap on the front to have rounded corners. Now I'll just go back and ink those rounded corners. And I'm going to ink the outside strip, and I'm going to also ink the inside. I shouldn't say strip, score, because this way when we put our bag together, I will have a better idea of how I'm going to line it up. Okay, and I'm going to ink around here too, because you will see this flap when you open the bag to take out your Halloween candy and or your Christmas treats or your Easter treats or your Valentine chocolates. So yeah, okay, so we have that all done. And I'll ink this up too, even though we're not going to see it, but it won't be blaring white. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. You go and gather all your goodies and gather your candy too, because maybe you just want to drop a few pieces in when you're done. And I will be right back, okay? I'll see you. Hang in there.